Hello! Thank you for clicking on our link. We are about to take you on a ride through the world of nonviolent resistance to government corruption. We are not going to name names. You do know what needs to be addressed already. Before we get started, like, share. And if you have not already, subscribe and click on the bell for notifications. That way you have the opportunity to get more news and instructions from WPS News. First, we start with some rock-solid, objective historical facts of civil disobedience. Oh, put away the firearms. We are not going that direction because we do not have to. Here's a detailed look at the historical context and significance of the Montgomery Bus Boycott and the Salt March, both of which exemplify nonviolent direct action in the fight against injustice and corruption.
Context. The Montgomery Bus Boycott was a pivotal event in the American civil rights movement that began on December 5, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama. The boycott was initiated in response to the arrest of Rosa Parks, an African-American woman who refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus to a white passenger. Key details. Duration. The boycott lasted for 381 days until December 20, 1956. Leadership. Organized by civil rights leaders, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Montgomery Improvement Association played a crucial role in coordinating the boycott and promoting nonviolent resistance. Goals. The primary goal was to end racial segregation on public buses and to achieve equal treatment for African Americans in the transportation system. Tactics. Boycotters organized carpools, utilized bicycles, and walked long distances to avoid using city buses. The movement gained national attention and support from various civil rights organizations. Outcome. In November 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. The successful boycott marked a significant victory for the civil rights movement and solidified nonviolent protest as a key strategy for enacting social change.
Context. The Salt March, also known as the Salt Satyagraha, was a significant act of nonviolent resistance led by Mahatma Gandhi in 1930 against British colonial rule in India. The march was a direct protest against the British monopoly on salt production and sales, which imposed a tax on the Indian population. Key details. The march took place from March 12 to April 6, 1930, covering approximately 240 miles from Sabarmati Ashram to the coastal town of Dandi. Mahatma Gandhi led a group of approximately 78 followers, which gradually grew in size as they journeyed across India, inspiring thousands to join. The march aimed to produce salt from seawater as a form of civil disobedience against British laws, and to raise awareness of the injustices faced by Indians under colonial rule. Gandhi's approach was deeply rooted in the philosophy of Satyagraha, or truth force, which advocated for nonviolence and moral confrontation. The act of making salt became symbolic of Indian independence and self-reliance. The Salt March garnered international attention and became a catalyst for the Indian independence movement. It highlighted the abuse of power by colonial authorities and inspired widespread civil disobedience across India. Ultimately, it played a significant role in rallying support for independence, which India achieved in 1947.
Both the Montgomery Bus Boycott and the Salt March illustrate the power of nonviolent direct action in challenging systemic injustice and effecting meaningful change. These historical events exemplify how peaceful resistance can mobilize communities, draw international attention to issues of corruption and inequality, and ultimately lead to new policies and greater social justice. Their legacy continues to inspire contemporary movements advocating for civil rights and government accountability around the world. The concept of utilizing nonviolent direct action as a means to address governmental corruption has deep historical roots and contemporary relevance. This approach, rooted in the philosophies of leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., emphasizes peaceful resistance as a method for enacting social change. At its core, nonviolent direct action seeks to disrupt the status quo in such a way that it draws attention to injustices and earns public support for reform. Nonviolent direct action involves a range of tactics aimed at challenging authority without resorting to violence. This may include protests, sit-ins, strikes, and other forms of civil disobedience. The intent is not merely to disrupt, but to create a moral dilemma for those in power, forcing them to confront their actions and policies. Historical examples include the Montgomery Bus Boycott, the Salt March, and various sit-ins throughout the civil rights movement. The rationale for nonviolent resistance. 1. Moral high ground. Nonviolence positions activists as champions of justice, earning them ethical legitimacy and garnering public sympathy. 2. Wider participation. Nonviolent methods tend to attract a broader base of support as they lower the barriers for participation, making it accessible to diverse groups within society. 3. Disruption of routine. Effective nonviolent actions can disrupt normal governmental operations without causing irreversible harm. For example, boycotting certain products or services can impact an economy and draw attention to corruption while remaining within a framework of lawful protest. If an organized movement were to emerge focusing on nonviolent direct action against a corrupt government, it could revolve around several strategic pillars. 1. Education and awareness. The initial phase would involve educating citizens about their rights, the corrupt actions of those in power, and the importance of civic engagement. This might include workshops, online campaigns, and community forums to raise awareness. 2. Building solidarity. Creating coalitions between various community groups, including labor unions, student organizations, and advocacy networks, would leverage collective strength to challenge corrupt practices. 3. Strategic nonviolent actions. Actions could be planned strategically, targeting areas where the government feels the impact most. Examples could include civil disobedience, peacefully occupying government buildings or public spaces to demand accountability and transparency. Boycotts. Organizing consumer boycotts of companies that contribute to or support corrupt political practices, thereby applying economic pressure. Social media campaigns. Utilizing digital platforms to disseminate information, mobilize supporters, and create viral campaigns that expose corruption to a wider audience. 4. Engaging with the media. Nonviolent movements could work closely with journalists and media outlets to highlight their cause and amplify their message, ensuring that the corrupt practices are covered extensively in public discourse. 5. Long-term change. Rather than focusing only on immediate grievances, a successful movement would seek systemic change through policy reforms, advocating for laws that increase transparency, accountability, and public engagement in governance. While the hypothetical proposal to establish facilities to educate citizens on insurgency tactics invokes significant concern, the focus on nonviolent direct action provides a constructive, peaceful alternative for addressing governmental corruption. By fostering community solidarity, leveraging strategic actions, and maintaining a commitment to peaceful resistance, citizens can work towards meaningful change without resorting to violence. Ultimately, the goal would be to foster a society where integrity and accountability are paramount, ensuring a government truly reflective of its constituents' needs and values. Proposal for a nonviolent education center on civil action. This proposal outlines the intention to establish a facility in Canada or Mexico aimed at educating individuals in their constitutional rights and nonviolent strategies for addressing governmental corruption. Contrary to rumors of insurgency tactics that compromise infrastructure, this center will focus on peaceful resistance in the spirit of renowned leaders, such as Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The objective is to empower strong and capable men and women with knowledge and skills to advocate for governmental accountability through nonviolent means, ensuring that any actions taken are constructive and oriented towards civic engagement and reform. Key educational components. 1. Constitutional rights training, providing participants with a comprehensive understanding of their rights under local and international laws, emphasizing the importance of lawful civic engagement. 2. Nonviolent resistance techniques. Drawing on historical examples of successful nonviolent movements, training will include methods of protest, civil disobedience, and grassroots organizing aimed at creating societal change without resorting to violence. 3. conflict resolution, and dialogue. Workshops focused on effective communication skills, negotiation techniques, and community dialogue to foster understanding and cooperation among diverse groups. 4. Advanced unarmed defense and offense tactics. While promoting peaceful strategies, the center will also incorporate training in self-defense that focuses on personal safety while upholding nonviolent principles. This training can draw inspiration from traditional systems, such as those historically practiced in Taiwan. Expected outcomes. Empowered individuals equipped with the knowledge to challenge corruption in their communities while upholding ethical standards. A network of advocates who can mobilize for civil rights and government accountability, creating a constructive dialogue about reforms. Increased public awareness on the importance of nonviolent resistance as a viable avenue for change, thereby strengthening democratic processes. Location and development. Although there is currently no confirmation of specific locations for these facilities, proposals are being discussed in various online forums. Feasibility studies will be conducted to assess potential sites that align with the mission and objectives of the center. Conclusion. The establishment of this educational facility represents an opportunity to harness the principles of nonviolent action to address corruption constructively. By focusing on empowerment and civic engagement, we can cultivate a community of advocates committed to fostering positive change through peaceful means. Now you decide what you want to do. Thank you for watching. If you found this useful, please, again, share the video, like the video, and subscribe to WPS News. We are here for the duration.